keep your job. Victory, victory, victory. The fully employed MBA program is one of the two ways to keep your job and get your MBA at UCLA Anderson. Okay. And the benefit of that is you earn your degree while you maintain your employment and you get the benefit instantly into your life. Yay, woot woot. And why you might want to do that is because we do transform people's careers. Back to my original point, this is not about a 10% raise. This is about a much quicker and more impactful interruption in the trajectory. We take a good trajectory and make it an even steeper trajectory. That's what an MBA does for people. We call it transformative leaders, and that's what we're about at Anderson. So this is the way to decide if you want to do FEMBA or not. Ask yourself these 5 questions, and if the answer is trending yes, then you might want to do what we're talking about. Or if you have even more experience, you might want to do the executive MBA. So ask yourself, do you like your job? You don't have to say it out loud, but actually just honestly, do I like my job? Do I like my boss? Does my boss like me? Is my boss investing in my growth and development? Do I like a paycheck, right? Do I like the industry I'm in? Do you like education? Or would you like to go deeper in education? Would you like to transform into something else? And do you like real-time results? In our programs, you take classes in the nights and weekends, and you immediately the next day go back to work and apply what you've learned. So if the answer is trending yes in those categories, you may not want to be a full-time grad student. You may want to be a working professional grad student. So FEMBAs receive the same, and EMBA receives the same faculty. We have one pool of faculty who teach all our programs. You put the same diploma on the wall. There's only one UCLA Anderson MBA, whether you're a full-time, part-time, executive MBA, and you're all part of the same campus club social atmosphere here at Anderson, but you keep your job. Okay, so that's the big value proposition. You have access to over 50 clubs. You can grow your leadership. We have an incredible curriculum. This is the FEMBA curriculum, which is a 2.5-year experience. The first half, these are the blue courses, 2 classes per quarter while you keep your job. You can go 2 nights a week. You can go all day Saturday. You can take our asynchronous hybrid pathway. So we have 3 schedules you choose, 2 classes a quarter, fall, winter, spring, and fall of year 2. And then the capstone is the summer and fall after the second year. And you can be done in as short as 2 years and a quarter. So that's the first half of the experience. Then you customize the second half. You get to choose your electives. We have lots of specializations, so you can focus your electives. If you want to give yourself a break, you can take the summer off and add a quarter, no problem. You want to take even more of a break, you can scratch out those 2 electives and add another quarter. So you can go from 2 years and a quarter to 3 years. You can actually extend it up to 4 years. Very, very flexible curriculum. And we have these bouncing green options. The second half are global immersions, which are something we pioneered here 15 years ago. These are 1-week study abroads, and you get to go to over 20 countries around the world to choose from. So you might do 1, you might do 2. They have a little bit of an extra cost because you pay for your travel and your hotel, but they are taught by UCLA Anderson faculty, and they are incredible opportunities. Hey, Stella, glad you're here. Thanks for running with the change of link. So these are the specializations. All of this is on our website. I won't go too deeply into it, but 12 different specializations. Again, you use your electives. If you want to aim at entertainment or finance or global management or social impact, you just take 3 or 4 electives from any of those categories, and you can earn a specialization. You can earn more than one. I'm going to do this kind of quickly, but these are 10 things that you only get at UCLA. Just like UCLA overall is the #1 public research university, FEMBA is the best part-time MBA program in Southern California ever since rankings started in 1996. We're #1 in SoCal. We're #5 in the nation. So you get that reputation. We have the best salary increases. I'll show you that in a moment. We have a dedicated consulting coaching called Leadership at Anderson. We have our commitment to transformative leadership. We have, in our faculty's opinion, the best capstones you can get, either the Global Access or the Business Creation capstone. The 1-week study abroads I spoke of. We have a dedicated venture accelerator, dedicated career services, Palooza and Drive Time, and our 3 pillars, our culture. We love to talk about our culture of share success, drive change, and think fearlessly. So these are things that we say, and we're willing to stand behind. We can offer, our faculty can offer, and our student experience can offer that you're not going to get at your other Southern California choices. And your other Southern California choices are wonderful, but if you want UCLA, this is part of why you might pay the big price and go to the in our opinion, most rigorous program in your choice group in Southern California. So I'll hit these quickly. These are the rankings: U.S. News, Fortune, #1 in SoCal, #5 in the nation. And this is the salary increase. So these are what happened for the last 3 years for the classes of 22, 23. I'm sorry, 22, 21, and 20. We'll have the 23 numbers by January. But this is what happens to people's salaries. Okay, so this is not a 10%, right? This is a big step forward. Some people earn more, some people earn less, but this is with over 75 to 80% of our students reporting 4 months after graduation what happened to their salaries. So if this is the kind of impact you'd like in your career, this is what happens to our students. And you kind of got to think, well, what does that mean? I'm probably not going to have the same boss, probably not going to have the same job title. I'm going to be doing bigger and different things. And I'm going to earn the credibility and the confidence to be able to raise my hand and say, hey, life, I think I can make a bigger impact. And that credibility and that confidence is, it's helpful. My MBA got me into a Fortune 50 environment where I got to go to Munich, Germany. I sat there for 3 years going, there's no way my history degree from Texas A&M was going to let me end up at this destination. And that was a wow for me in my life, an adventure of a lifetime. And that's the kind of impact we want to have for you. So quickly, our capstones, this is the Global Access Program. You'll hear a lot about this. You get a choice, either the Global Access Program or the Business Creation. These are, you can think of it like a practicum master's thesis. You're on a team, you select your teammates from your classmates, and you're matched with an international high growth company, and you get to consult with the C-suite for 6 months doing primary and secondary research. And what you're actually answering is the question, what should the company do next? You actually get to help a C-suite answer that question. So you get to test your MBA while you're still earning your MBA. So that you're about halfway through the program, you've completed all the core classes, and now you actually get to have the chance to deal with ambiguity, just like modern business leaders all have to deal with. What should a company do next? So that's our Global Access Program. We've been running this for decades. It's an incredible opportunity. No other school can match. That's our primary capstone, but it's not our only capstone. For those of you who are interested in entrepreneurship, the alternate is the Business Creation Program. And this is for those of you who want to start your own business. Same thing, 6-month experience, but this is the deep dive for people who want to start their business. An incredible opportunity. I'll show you 2 people who started businesses this year that you can listen to their interviews on our podcast in just a couple slides. The Global Immersions, this is a list of the countries that we've gone to in the last 20 years. Argentina, Austria, Brazil, Chile, China, Colombia, primarily non-English speaking emerging marketplaces around the world. Again, you don't have to take this, but they're so fun. You travel with other FEMBAs, with executive, with full-time students. I've been on 2 to China, to India, life-changing opportunities, and a chance to meet business leaders, company leaders of all stripes working abroad, Americans working abroad, or people from each country, government agencies, a real chance to see what's going on out in the world. We also have exchanges where you're similar, but you're taught by local faculty. These are some of the schools that we go to. What are they spelling? FEMBA! All right, a little game we play. These are FEMBAs on the Great Wall. Here's Seoul National in South Korea, South America, Japan, Greece, right? Just people who keep a full-time job, take a week off, travel the world, and have an incredible condensed experience that opens up the world and earns 4 units of credit. We have a dedicated career services team. You'll get to meet with dedicated coaches who work exactly with you. Palooza and Drive Time. We have a big block party every summer that welcomes our entering class while we reconnect current students and bring back alumni. We've been hosting that for 10 years. We'll have 13, 14, 1,500 people. Drive Time is a podcast. I'll show you some links on that. This is what Palooza looks like, a ton of fun. No other school has a Palooza. These are our 23 Summer Spotlight. These were recent grads nominated by their classmates, each telling their story. That link in the bottom, and I'll put it, when Debbie speaks in a moment, I'll put it in the chat. Listen to these. These are people just like you who just graduated, nominated by their peers as real exemplars of how to do the UCLA Anderson opportunity right. Heather and Nicole, top row and middle row. Heather and Nicole are also double Bruins. I know some of you went to UCLA undergrad. These folks all did the Global Access Program, so you can hear about their capstone. And David and Emily each created their own companies. So they did the Business Creation program while they were here. All of these are available at the QR code on the right, and I'll put the link. They're all on YouTube. Susan Francia, hers is at the very bottom. She's a 2-time Olympic gold medalist, a member of our alumni, and I love her interview. We recorded it right here in this office a week before COVID, and why I love to bring her back up. Her mother just won the Nobel Prize. Her mother is Katalin, I can't say her last name, Kolakov, who just won the Nobel Prize in medicine and immunology 3 weeks ago. So just more of that great UCLA brag stuff. Share success, think fearlessly, drive change. Those are our pillars. Your head, your heart, your gut. You'll get smarter. You'll build a big network, and you will develop incredible confidence. I'm going turbo now. This is 1,000 days to reinvent yourself. If you become 0.1% better every day for 1,000 days, you're 100% better. And that doesn't include compounding. We have a very collaborative environment. You're not competing against your classmates. They are your board of directors. You're competing against that person who looks back at you in the mirror every morning. How can I help yesterday Dylan make tomorrow Dylan have a better life? That's our game. We're in the future business. Your future's our business. Your future, how to get admitted. It's all online. Our deadline's next week. There's actually still time to apply. GMAT, GRE, or executive assessment. We have our GMAT waiver if you have a 3.2 or a 3.4. That's all on the website. 2 letters of recommendation, your boss's boss. Spend time on your essays. Give us a resume and apply. After you apply, you get a link that lets you sign up for our admission interview day, and we'll have round 1 decisions before the break. We have 3 rounds, no difference between the 3 rounds. So either October, January, or April. 3 times to apply. We start once a year in the fall. Last thing before I hand it to Debbie, your spark. Everybody's worried about ChatGPT, right? It's terrifying the faculty. What's the appropriate? What's the ethical? Here's the thing about your essays. ChatGPT won't get out of bed and drive to UCLA, right? Your essays are your chance to ask yourself, really, do I need a graduate school degree or another graduate school degree? Do I need an MBA? Do I need it from UCLA? Do I want to keep my job, right? If we put a room full of people who want to learn in front of our faculty who love to teach and do research, what lights you up and what lights up your classmate, that's your spark. And the only thing strong enough to polish another diamond is what? Other diamonds, right? That's the metaphor. When you write your essays, tell us what lights you up. What do you want to aim at in your life? And how can an MBA help you achieve that? That's what we want to hear. Okay, the exam waiver, that's on the website. That's our panel. We'll come back to that. Let me stop sharing and hand it over to Debbie.
Hi, everyone. I don't have any slides to show you at this moment, but I just want to kind of give you a top line in terms of the executive MBA program. So virtually very, very similar in terms of curriculum. You do have a choice of scheduling. The biggest difference is really who's in the classroom. So the requirements and the profile, and you can find all of this online, but just wanted to share for those people who are interested. It is, again, a part-time program, so it's designed for working professionals. It's primarily on the weekends, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Sundays are electives. You do have the opportunity to take FEMBA electives, however. So there is a little bit of crossover there with permission from the people that are in charge. You can take the FEMBA electives. There is a global immersion as well. The timing is a little bit different. So it's a cohort-based program that's 22 months. And by the way, I know some people asked about a recording. I believe we'll send it out after the event today to everyone who's registered in case you didn't catch something. But suffice it to say, again, the biggest difference would be who's in the program, and the requirement for the EMBA program is 8 years work experience, 5 years in management. We consider management managing people, projects, budgets. And the average work experience is about 15 years with 9 years in management. So if anyone, I will put my contact information in the chat after this. If anyone wants to get together on a phone conversation with me or one of my colleagues or attend an EMBA event, we actually do have several of those coming up. You're welcome to do so. I did mention in the chat earlier as well that we do also have staff fellowships. That's $20,000 total. So $10,000 each year would be applied against program fees. It is a 22-month cohort-based program. So unlike FEMBA, it's 22 months and you're kind of done. As Dylan mentioned, the finishing the end diploma is the same diploma, right? It says UCLA MBA. I'm a double Bruin. I did the full-time program, and my story is very similar to Dylan. I actually transitioned from being in a finance role to marketing. So I was like a pivoter. So whether I think just keep in mind, there's a lot of reasons why people join an MBA program. UCLA did really transform my career and my life in a lot of ways. I'm also a dinosaur, but I have people in my cohort that I literally talk to every week, if not every day. And I graduated in 91. Okay. So there you go, Dylan. But we do love to hear the stories, and I don't want to take too much time because I know we've got some amazing student stories, but please do reach out. GRE and GMAT are not required for the EMBA program. So we don't have waivers. It's just not required. We look at the application holistically, and would love to talk to, again, any of you who are interested in learning a little bit more and exploring your candidacy for the program. And if you have any other questions, I would just say, pop them in the chat. If we don't answer them right now, again, follow up with Dylan or I, and we'll either connect you to somebody on our teams, or we'll answer you directly. The fully employed, yes. Well, I think Dylan mentioned there are waivers for the GMAT and GRE right now, but there are some stipulations, and it's best to just talk to us directly.
Fantastic.
All right, Dylan, I'll
Thank
throw
you,
it back
Debbie.
to you.
Thanks so much. Yeah, and we're not going to try to answer all the questions in the chat because we'll be scatterbrained. So that's why. Please just meet with our team, and we will put our links in the chat. So now, Debbie and I were the warm-up bands, and the headliner today is Elsa, Jay, and Stella, three current members of the Fully Employed MBA program. As I said at the outset, Elsa's brand new in her first year, and Jay and Stella, believe it or not, I know it's so crazy, but you guys will be halfway here in just a couple of months. So why don't we go right to left, and we'll start with Stella, and then Jay, and then Elsa. They have each graciously shared this hour with us, and would love to kind of let each of them respectively introduce themselves, tell about their role on campus, and then kind of where they were when they were in your shoes, what they're aiming at, where they want to go, and how is it going so far. So Stella, if we could, we'll start with you, and I'll stop sharing so everybody can see you fully.
Hi, everyone. Thank you all for joining today. And my name is Stella Petrosyan, and I'm the Industry Relations Manager here at UCLA's Career Center. And I've been with UCLA ever since I graduated undergrad in 2019. And I graduated from UCR with a degree in econ and administrative studies. And essentially, during my undergrad, I knew I wanted to get my MBA, and I had worked all 4 years throughout my undergrad at UCR. So I really liked working in a campus environment. So I started off here, and I got my position at the Career Center as an executive assistant, and then moved up my way into an industry relations manager. So during my application process was actually when a lot of my role transitions happen. And what's really great about working at UCLA and being part of the FEMBA program is the fact that I'm working with a lot of different industries, specifically relating to engineering and tech, and being able to be in an environment where you're learning all of these business tactics, and also like how different businesses do operate. It really does help sort of like be fully immersed in the program. And it's funny to these past few days, we went back to in-person fairs, and for my readings last night, we were talking, it's about like managing keys and the psychology of waiting lines. And that was the biggest issue that we actually had at work. So being able to integrate that together is really, really helpful, and helps you be a lot more engaged and grow in your role. So I'm about halfway done. with the program, like Dylan said, and I'm really excited to continue moving forward and take advantage of GAP.
Thank you, Stella. And do you consider yourself a switcher, an enhancer, or an explorer? How did you kind of self-identify when you walked in the door?
Definitely an enhancer. I told myself, I'm like, I want to work at UCLA for the rest of my life. I even told Dylan this. And UCLA definitely has so many different avenues to grow within. So I definitely want to grow my role and continue moving up within UCLA.
Awesome. Excuse me, I muted myself. Excellent. Thank you for getting us started, Stella. All right, Mr. J, would you please go next?
Of course. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you, Dylan, for inviting me. I'm Jay Fantone. I'm the Assistant Director of Peer Learning at UCLA Athletics. So I work in the academic unit of UCLA Athletics, overseeing basically our tutorial services. I've been at UCLA since 2016 in athletics. Before then, I had a career in environmental planning. I switched careers because I realized I really liked working with people in a kind of a student affairs capacity and a service-oriented environment. And that's how I got started in athletics. I chose to pursue an MBA for a variety of reasons. I had been working in student affairs for 7 years. And to move up, I needed an advanced degree, a master's of some sort. I didn't think it was actually worth this is not passing judgment, but I didn't think it was worth my time or money to pursue a master's in education. I thought it would be a better investment of my time and money to pursue an MBA. And that's why I decided to pursue an MBA. Also, I work in athletics, and I don't know if you've read any news about college athletics. It is a very dynamic environment right now. And it is shifting much more towards a business model than an amateur kind of academic model. So I wanted to be prepared and set up for that in the future. I think that's it for me, Dylan. What questions do you have?
Well, what's one? No. Let's let Elsa introduce herself, and then we'll let the questions come from our guest today. Thank you, Jay. Thank you for going second. Elsa.
Hi, everyone. I'm Elsa Duong. I'm an assistant director at the Master of Legal Studies program at the law school. So just a couple minutes away from the actual Anderson campus area. I've been working at UCLA for over 6 years now. It'll be my 7th year in January. And I started at the law school as a faculty assistant. And when the law school launched the Master of Legal Studies program, which is another professional graduate program, I jumped on the train to help run it. So for the first, I think, year and a half, it was just me and my boss, and we were running this program. And it's grown pretty significantly since 2020. I think with my role, I think I can broadly say I manage operations of the program, which really is a lot of hats. I work everywhere from student affairs to admissions and like campus liaison. But I think in all of that, since I started in this program, in my department, I've been able to really define my role and know kind of what my ideal job functions are, which I think is pretty rare at UCLA. You kind of just come in and you know, your job function's already set. And so one of the reasons I decided to pursue an MBA was because I wanted to gain more skills from different perspectives than lawyers and really be able to apply, you know, those fresh perspectives into my role to making, you know, overall graduate student experience better.
Awesome. Okay, well, so we have 5 subject matter experts. Debbie and myself, you know, we're full-time staff members here. Jay, Stella, and Elsa are in the program. So the second half really of this time together today is designed to sort of customize and meet you all where you are. We'll just let people raise their digital hands. The idea here is, you know, ask questions that you think more than a few people would like the answer to. If you have very specific personal questions, this is not the right forum for that. Reach out to Vartan and Christy on my team, or any of us actually one-on-one afterwards for more personal things. But just to give people a sense of really, you know, their questions. Oh yeah, I have that question too. So we like to keep these questions at a high level. So let's move forward to audience participation, and I will call people, and you can address it to all the panel or to one person in particular. And before you ask the question, tell us a little bit who you are, what your role is, which part of campus you're on. And if you could come off camera, we'd love to see you if that's possible. All right, we'll start with Will. Hello, Will.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for putting this together today. It's been really informative. I've been working at UCLA for almost 9 years now. I'm a supervisor on the desktop support team at IT Services. So, I love technology, enterprise technology, and, enabling campus to, do the things they strive to achieve. And I've kind of been thinking about getting my MBA the past couple of years, but I've been a little hesitant because, I changed my majors a few times and didn't end up graduating from UCLA with the best GPA. And so I wasn't sure if like how much that's going to weigh into being a good candidate, and if I can show with other areas, if it's worth it for me to apply or not.
Excellent. Well, thank you for being brave and going first. And obviously, we're not going to start talking about your personal stuff here in front of everyone, Will. So Christy and Vartan's links are in the chat. But the headline is, you don't have to be perfect to earn a seat. It is easier to earn a seat in FEMBA than it was to earn a seat at UCLA undergrad. So, we don't have 145,000 people apply for FEMBA. Thank God. I would go crazy like we do for UCLA undergrad. So, there are things you do to tell about those 8 or 9 years you've been working since undergrad. And the argument you're going to be making for faculty committee is who I was then and who I am now are radically different. And you just want to give us evidence that we can use to take to faculty committee to champion for your admission. So all is not lost. Talk with Vartan or Christy. They'll help set up a plan. And thank you for getting us started. Great question, Will.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Who would like to go next? Yes, Sarah.
Hi. Yes. Thank you guys so much for sharing your stories as well. It's really helpful to kind of know where you guys started and why you guys chose to get into the program. My question, and one of you guys can feel free to answer. How did you guys choose your specializations in the MBA program? Because there's so many that are offered, and for someone like me who loves to learn, I look at all of them and I want to do all of them, but obviously that's not possible. So how did you guys kind of narrow that down, and how many did you choose to do once you figured out what you wanted to do?
And again, Sarah, I'll just jump in. They're actually, because Jay and Stella are at the start of the second year, they're still in core. So no one on this panel has actually gotten to the elective phase yet. But even Stella or Jay, looking ahead, how are you thinking about specializations? Is a big deal, little deal? You want to do one or none or three or what?
Yeah, it's funny that you asked that, because I was actually thinking about that recently, since we do have to start picking our electives. And at first I went in with the idea of doing social impact. I thought that was a really great way to like tie into, like, for example, my essays. And then after looking at the other ones, I think one of the ways that helps is looking at the classes that are offered and like the details of what that class entails. And what's nice is that you don't have to like specifically like commit to one. Like you can just choose to do like a general MBA as well. So essentially it's like going by ear. But once we take the classes, we can definitely like change it or choose to stay in the specific one.
Yeah, definitely echoing what Stella said. I've kind of like wavered back and forth between technology management and social impact as well, right? Because we all work in higher ed, but in my role, I'm really empowering people who maybe didn't have access to places like UCLA. And I believe in the power of education to lift people up, and that's what I'm here to do. So in that aspect, I came in with the idea of social impact, but now I'm also exploring ideas of like educational technology, and then how do we manage that technology? So I'm kind of wavering back and forth as well.
And Elsa, I don't want to leave you out, but you're still just trying to survive your first quarter. But any thoughts, even looking ahead next year, Elsa, about specializations from your perspective?
Yeah, I will definitely echo what Jay said about social impact and the fact that we do work in higher education. I too believe in the power of education, which is one of the reasons why I'm pursuing an MBA, is because I do want to increase and advance the access for people who don't necessarily come to UCLA or believe that it's an opportunity. I also looked at, I think the way that I'm thinking about my electives for the future are, what's going, where do I want my job function to go, and kind of what aligns with that. But also what can I not learn from my job that I could only get from the degree. So kind of the classes that are more about people and management and leading, I think are probably where I'm going to end up gearing towards more, which is also a tip I will say from a FEMBA alum that I got when I was in admissions.
Thank you, Elsa. All right, who's next? All right, Marcia. Thank you, Marcia.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much. So this is just a question, I suppose, mostly for the second years. How are you finding the balance between taking the night and weekend courses with all of the networking opportunities that would come with being part of grad school? So do you find that there are conflict or are you finding that you still are able to build connections with people who are taking the more traditional MBA course at UCLA and build relationships with faculty and all of the everything else that comes with grad school, especially with business school?
I think definitely being on campus definitely does help, and working at UCLA and just like walking over right after on like the work on the in-office days. And what's really nice is that one thing that I love about FEMBA is the social and networking aspect of it. Because even in like the classes, like a lot of the like work is group work, and we have dinners with our professors that is scheduled, and our FEMBA council reps really do a great job at helping coordinate that and making sure that everyone stays connected. You'll find that there are a lot of social and networking opportunities that are available. And what's really nice about the FEMBA program is that the professors are really mindful that we're all like working individuals and that we have a lot of other obligations. So I've never really found that the networking aspect has really like came in conflict with the work aspect. And what's nice is that like after like classes or like during group or whenever our groups meet, we'll also like incorporate like a social aspect to it afterwards, which is really great. Jay, I don't know if there's anything you wanted to add to that.
I think what the FEMBA program does really well too is they ease you into the workload. Definitely like the first quarter, it was an adjustment. But it wasn't terrible. I thought it would be way worse than it was, and it was actually quite manageable. And then they kind of build up the workload. So at this point now, I'm able to read a case every week and I can digest it, whereas before I might need a week or two to actually digest a single case. So they've done a really good job with that. In terms of social and the social aspect and networking, I actually love going to class. It's like the highlight of my day because I get to see my classmates and they're all doing so many amazing different things, and they have such good insights that I don't get in my regular day at work. I'm very much isolated in my athletics bubble, but I love coming to work and hearing about the people over at Live Nation and when they were dealing with the Taylor Swift issue and they were showing me the graphs of their usage on their website. Because they'd walk into the classroom and you're just like, oh, hey Stella, long day. And they're, and they tell you about what they're dealing with and how they are managing their own operations. So there's that social aspect, but then there's also a lot of times mixers and other events that you can attend after class.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you, Marcia. Great question. I've heard that question for 20 years. It's really important to people. And just to put a plug in, I did a full-time MBA at Chicago. So I was a fully unemployed MBA, and it was wonderful. And there was always a kind of sense of like, I love all these people, but we're also competing for internships and we're competing for jobs. So there's kind of, in my observation, a quantity quality. Maybe you can meet more people when you're a full-time grad student, but I'm not sure you go to the same depth that I see FEMBAs go to for exactly what Jay was pointing out. Like it's powerful to know someone at Live Nation and then they need a new tech person and, hey, Jay, I heard you were interested in ed tech. Hey, we'd like to da. So I always hear your question at the prospective student stage, Marcia, and I never hear it come up ever again during the program. And what I love with all these drive time podcasts is people, not only do they make decent friends, they make great friends. And people get married, people start businesses. So it's so ephemeral. How do you measure networking? But it never comes up with current or alumni students that, gosh, I wish I'd done a different program to get a better network. That concern is very appropriate when you're a prospect, and it goes away for the reasons that Stella and Jay spoke to. So sorry to double down on the answer, but it's one that I hear people ask, so I wanted to double down. Kaylee, would you like to go next?
Yeah, hi, I'm Kayla Koenig. My question is, what would be one piece of advice from the students that you would give someone starting their master at UCLA?
Excellent. Elsa, why don't we start with you, since we haven't, one piece of advice you'd give to someone starting their master's. It's brand new for you.
Yeah. Really know your purpose for pursuing the program. I think when you get into the program, you know, everyone has that strong drive, but it's getting to that hurdle. And that's going to be what motivates you to apply, get through admissions, you know, wait until August to start. You know, I applied round one. It was very exciting. But at the same time, it's like, all right, I gotta wait this whole time to get to orientation. And then it's gonna help drive you, you know, throughout the program. So like, know what your purpose is. It can change, it can evolve. But I would say that's a very abstract tip, but I think it's helpful for me, at least.
I love it. Know your purpose. Nothing abstract about that. What's your why? Right? Business executives will never have enough time to do everything that's demanded by their career, by their family, and by their philanthropic goals in life. And establishing one's why is a huge part of the polishing of the diamond of the MBA. I love that answer, Elsa. Jay, Stella, how about you guys? Oh, Jay's got the thinking tap. Oh, yes. Let me ponder this question. It's a good question. I love it.
I mean, in addition to knowing your purpose, like what is motivating you every day to do it, because it is time consuming, also just having your priorities straight and understanding like what is okay right now, like what is my priority right now versus like, can this wait till tomorrow? That has been really helpful for me in order to manage my time. And I will say being in this program has actually like definitely increased me by 1% every, my operations by 1% every day. I've gotten really good at managing a lot of tasks simultaneously.
Awesome. Stella.
Yes. And then I can add to that is not to neglect like connecting with people and connecting with people in the classroom. I know like going from like undergrad, like you're so like focused on academics. And I went into FEMBA like not liking group projects, and everything is a group project. But the thing is, it's like whenever you like learn to make that connection with people in your class, and you learn how to optimize each other's like talents and I remember during leadership foundations when we did the simulation on if like the plane crashes, and like you had to like put together like the list of like things that you needed to do and rank them on like the best way to survive. When you did it individually and when you did it with the group, your chances of survival were like so much better when you did it with the group. So FEMBA does a really great job at showing you how working with people is definitely gonna like be to your advantage. So learning how, making sure to prioritize the connections that you have with everyone in class is definitely a tip that I give. It does your schoolwork best in the long run. So it's not competitive yet.
Yeah, it's you know, me to we, right? You flip that M and it becomes a W, me to we. What earns you a seat in FEMBA is not what helps you earn the FEMBA degree, right? Your individual excellence will get you a seat. And then while you're in the program, like, you know, everything's a group project. Welcome to MBA, full-time, part-time executive, everything's a group project. Why? Because it's a degree in management, and management is achieving goals and objectives with and through the time and talents of others beyond what I'm individually capable of doing. And this is a world-class destination to deal with ambiguity, to wrestle with, we don't have enough time, we don't have enough money, we're not sure what's going to happen tomorrow, but we're in charge, go, right? And that's what it takes to lead a modern organization. That's what it takes to lead our personal life. This degree gets you ready for the second half of your career. And it's that pivot, especially for our, prototypical FEMBA is between 27 and 33. 80% of our students are in that chapter of life. And, at the end of our 20s, as we launch into our 30s, it's like, wow, yeah, I'm not the same. I'm not going to just do it all myself anymore. I'm going to delegate. I'm going to create partnerships. I'm going to be a manager and a leader. And this degree really gets people into that competency set to dance in that world. And that's the world we dance in for the second half of our careers. Christopher Maddox, would you like to go?
Thank you so much. Yeah, I really appreciate you guys putting this info session together. Very informative. I just wanted to ask if anyone could speak on the experiences of people who went through the FEMBA program in the hybrid scenario, because I think there's a lot of people who are like me that are not in the Los Angeles area currently and are working remotely. And just was wondering if anyone could like speak on like what someone's experience was like doing the hybrid setting versus like maybe the in-person. So that's just a question.
I took a hybrid class this summer, Christopher. So I took corporate finance this summer, and it was hybrid, where basically I have 3 weeks, 2 weeks. It was a summer class. It was a little shorter, so 2 weeks of lectures, and then I'd come in on a full Saturday. It was actually really convenient for me because summers are really slow for me at work. So, I watch the lectures on my own time. I have Zoom meetings with my group mates that I'm doing projects on, and then we come in on Saturdays, spend the whole day in class with the professor, with my group. I actually really enjoyed it. It was a different way of learning for me. And I think if anyone, us going through the pandemic has actually made it much more digestible too. It's not as scary as people think. But yeah, I didn't have any problems with it. I thought it was a great experience. Professor was great. My group mates were very engaged.
And Christopher, we launched our hybrid offering in the fall of 2012. So we had a decade of experience under our belt prior to the pandemic. And, now it's not even a thing anymore. Also, to put in a word for the executive MBA program, the executive MBA program, after you've, hit that sort of roughly 10-year mark, is a program that is very accessible for people out of state, because it's designed in an episodic delivery. So you have that option also. I don't know, Debbie, anything?
Yeah, I just put it in the chat. Only about 50% of our students are from the LA area. So either driving in or flying in once a month is an option. There's two modalities or sections that we call them that are once a month on campus. Batul, I know you've had your hand up. I just wanted to make sure we got to your question.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Christopher. Hi, Batul. Thank you, Debbie.
Hi there. Hi. My name is Batul, and I am a supervisor in a research laboratory at UCLA over 20 years. So this is not necessarily for me to advance as my current role, but I want to know if this program, how does it help with someone who wants to start a company or take his company to another level? Basically, more about, I know everyone, and thank you so very much. It's very informative. We talked a lot about the administration and management. I want to know how it can help people to work as an entrepreneur and go into making their company, or especially advancing their company. If they already have a company, does it help for them to advance their company? Thank you.
I'll aim at this one because I've seen it over years and years and years. So enhancing a job you already have. Stella loves UCLA and just wants to be as great at UCLA as she can be. But David and Emily that I showed on the link, they created companies. Emily created a company called Advise. David created a company called Unicorn. So entrepreneurship is what Anderson does really well. We're a West Coast school. You look at 90% of people who work in LA County work for a employer with fewer than 100 employees. This is a first generation immigrant, high tech entrepreneurial economy, and our faculty are 100% part of that. So the Global Access Program, those are all new early stage companies, the business creation program, that's specifically how to start a company. I've written 2 books since I started working here. My wife quit her job with Hilton and self-incorporated 14 years ago, and my boss helped me draw up her letters of incorporation. This place is about business, and it's about starting business in equal measure to optimizing an already existing business. So if you want entrepreneurship, if you want to deepen a family business that you're going to inherit, Anderson will take care of whatever gaps in your confidence. You know, maybe you don't understand finance. Maybe you don't know about setting up the legal framework. You don't, am I an S corp? Am I, you know, what do I want to be? Like we work with you on all of that. So, but again, talk with us one-on-one, because it's kind of a broad question. And if you got 20 years of experience, definitely talk with Debbie, because the executive MBA is going to be, you know, the right fit for where you are in your life and career.
Thank you so much.
No, thanks for being here. Danielle, maybe we have 1 or 2 more here. We're getting towards the top of the hour.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Perfect. Yes.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Hi, thank you so much for holding this. My name is Danielle. I work for the Academic Advancement Program here at UCLA. And I wanted to ask, it's really great to hear about the 30,000 basically UCLA staff fellowship. But does FEMBA or Anderson work with FEMBA students to help find specific exclusive either scholarships or grants to help fund the rest of the cost, in addition to, of course, taking out loans?
Not really. No, we have a dedicated financial aid office, which is great, but you know, your job is your scholarship. You know, most of our fellowship dollars go to our full-time students who give up 2 years of income. So most people are paying for this out of a combination of savings and taking out student loans. I wish it were different, but it's not. Thank you for that very real question. This is a big investment.
I can jump in too. There are some because I also looked into this, Danielle. There are some opportunities depending if you qualify for certain master's degree scholarships, but they're outside of UCLA. So you just have to do your own research into those.
And Danielle, if I can also add to that, the staff assembly scholarship, they give out $500. It's a pretty easy application. I will say I applied and got it, so highly recommend. Also, talk to your boss. You know, it's the master's degree or the MBA is a self-supporting degree, but supervisors do have the opportunity at their discretion to assist with reimbursement. So I'd recommend talking to your boss too. Yeah.
Jay and Elsa, thank you guys for being a little more positive. I was such a great question, Danielle. And I don't listen to me, listen to them. And Stella, yeah, you came up.
Yeah, one thing too, I was gonna add, if you do plan on working at UCLA for a while, it's the public service loan forgiveness program. So if you do take out student loans, even as a grad student, it does qualify for it. So you can get any student loans forgiven after the 10 years of 10% of your discretionary income repayment. So there's that option as well.
Thank you. Okay, my God, you gave a much better answer, everybody. Why don't we, last words are yours, 1 minute each, and we'll go in reverse. Now we'll start with Elsa, then Jay, then Stella. So last words from you guys on our panel. Elsa, what if you could say the last thing you'd like to leave people with, what would it be?
Pursuing your MBA, particularly as a full-time employee, you're going to be investing in yourself and your career. And everyone here at Anderson, and all the current students, all the alumni, all the staff and faculty, they are helping you with that investment. So it's very much worth your time and money.
Thank you, Elsa. Thanks so much. Jay.
Quite simply, the best thing about Anderson is the people. That's why I chose to come here. I was looking at a few other schools, but the people at Anderson, they're positive, they're friendly. It's not, at least the FEMBA program, from what I don't know the other programs, but it's not a competitive environment. It's very supportive, and people are doing really cool and interesting things that I probably would have never been aware of.
Love it. Thank you. And
Yes.
Stella.
Yes, Jay, exactly that. And also just going off like the material you learn in class, like I love the fact that you're able to like apply it to your everyday. It makes class very interesting. It makes the people that you work with really interesting. And I personally I love like reading the cases, and it's like I still remember like all the cases that I've read, just because you're really able to be immersed in the material and also the people. So I definitely recommend the program. Don't get scared about it being like too time consuming. I think again, your teammates help, your professors help, and I want to say one of the best decisions that I've ever made in my life and career. So
thank you, Stella. And Debbie.
Yeah, I would echo the same. The EMBA program and the school in general is super collaborative. I mean, we work obviously across all programs together. It's fun. And, you know, as an alumni, I can tell you what I would think of it as, it's not really just an investment in the next 2 or 3 years in terms of the financial investment. It's for your lifetime, right? I mean, Dylan said the same thing. As an alumni, you have access to over 43,000 alumni in the network. So whether, you know, you decide to stay at UCLA or not, I think it's such an amazing experience and network that really will help shape your future and hopefully help you become that transformative leader that we've been talking about. And please, you know, feel free to reach out, and I'm going to stop the recording now.
Yeah, and thank you, Debbie, and just